plant buddies. So I got a video request from one of my subscribers to do a Echeveria repotting for, you know, that time when you buy your new succulent from a nursery and you get home and you're concerned about how to repot it, how to treat the roots, your soil mix, that kind of thing. So today we'll be doing a repotting video of not an Echeveria, unfortunately. I don't have any Echeverias available. I mean, I don't have any Echeverias ready to be repotted, but I do have this Pachyveria clavifolia that's been in this plastic takeout container for a long time, and it's been here for about 2 years. So it's about time I repotted it and it's about time for me to give it fresh new soil. So I will be doing that for you today. So let's put this aside over here first. The first thing we're gonna do with our pot is put one of these tape mesh thingies at the bottom of the pot where that hole is. That way when you water, you don't have to worry about the soil spilling out and making a mess all over the place. So I do that for all my pots. And then you'll notice here that it's also a terracotta pot. I am a big fan of terracotta because they help with succulent drainage. Okay, so we've got that. I will put that aside for now. And now I'm going to talk about my soil mix that I use. This is just, my soil mix is very simple. There's nothing fancy about it at all. This is just Miracle-Gro regular potting mix in the yellow bag. Make sure it's the regular potting mix. I've heard good reviews about the Miracle-Gro moisture control as well. I think the bag is blue, but I don't use that because it says it retains water longer. And I just use the regular potting mix. And this is, look at how nice and fluffy it is. That's what you want to look for in succulent soil. My succulents have been thriving in this for the past 3 years that I've been growing them. I mean, look at how loose and fluffy that soil is. Now ideally, when I plant my succulents, my soil is dry. I like to pre-mix so that the soil can dry out and just air dry it. But this one is actually a little bit damp because I just mixed it. Damp, but not wet. I add just a little bit of perlite to it. There's no exact measurement per se, but I always just add a little bit of perlite to my soil, just to add a little bit more drainage to it. I used to use Miracle-Gro succulent cactus and palm. That's what it's called from what I remember. But the Miracle-Gro potting mix actually tends to be a little bit lighter. And I don't like all those little wood particles. I mean, this still has it. I mean, look, I have a big one right here. But not as much as that mix. That mix is actually a little bit heavy for me. The Miracle-Gro potting mix is a lot fluffier and lighter. So my succulents do a lot better in it. So you just mix your perlite in there. Just to, you know, more drainage is always better than less. Let's just say that. Just mix it in there really well. And we are now ready for potting. Okay, so ideally you want to repot your succulents about every 2 years. Give them fresh new soil so they can grow better. Or another thing that I do all the time, no matter what, because I am very paranoid about my soil and I'm familiar with my soil. I know exactly how to water it. I know when there seems to be something wrong because I've been using it for the past 3 years, is whenever you buy a new succulent from a nursery, if possible, don't recycle the succulent soil that they provide. Or if you do want to recycle it, maybe use it for something else that you don't care too much about. But as far as your new succulents go, I always recommend to change the soil. Reason being is because you never know if there's bugs in there, if it's a good mix, how old the soil is, just all of that. You know, it makes you feel better when you know you've given your succulent fresh new soil. Now peeking right in there is actually a succulent leaf propagation that I did, and she's gotten pretty big. It's an Echeveria pollex. So if you have one of those, they propagate really well from leaves, guys. Now let me just take this out. So you see, now this has been here for a long time, so I can take it out that easily. So just kind of gently, okay, gently break it. You are gonna break some roots. Unfortunately, you know, you can't really help that. Now because this is my soil, I'm not going to completely strip it of its dirt, but if it was coming from a nursery, I would actually go as far as rinsing the roots. But if you don't want to do that, there's a dead leaf right there, but if you don't want to do that, you can just do it this way. The most important part of this step is just to make sure that you loosen that root ball that was in that soil previously. This way it's free to grow out into its new pot. A lot of times actually when we buy succulents from nurseries, what we'll find when we take it out of the soil is that they're root bound. So that's why this is very important for you to loosen. You see how I'm doing it? I'm just gently massaging the roots with my thumb here. You want to loosen as much root as possible. You cannot avoid breaking some, but you know, succulents can handle it, so that's okay. Now you do that. I don't think I'll be putting this one in, I'm not sure, because I kind of like, I want to showcase this by itself. I'm not quite sure yet, but this soil, actually, I may have repotted this less than 2 years ago, maybe a year, maybe less than a year. Look, the soil is still really good, so I'm actually going to recycle some of that. It's because it's my soil. But if you were to buy it from a nursery, do not recycle the soil. Hey, you can do whatever you want, but I suggest you don't recycle the nursery soil. At least not for your succulent that you really, really love. You know, you just bought it and you want it to thrive. I say give it new soil. It deserves it. It's probably in that nursery pot for a long time and probably doesn't like it very much either. So I'm just gently massaging the roots here. In case you're interested to know, this is the stem, the original stem of the succulent right here. This Pachyvaria clavifolia. I had beheaded it, and that's where the cut is, right there in the middle somewhere. Anyways, I had beheaded it and it has grown. There's 2 babies on the stem right now, but I have previously taken off maybe 2 or 3 other babies before that to put in another succulent arrangement around my garden. Or actually I gave it to my sister. But yeah, I like to cut the heads off when they're big and they grow a stem. Actually, I bought this succulent specifically, specifically because it had a long mature stem, and it looked really bad, guys. It was so ugly. But I knew that if I gave it the proper care and sunlight and soil, that it'll look beautiful again. I decided that I'm gonna put it, see how loose those roots are? Right there, completely bare. So I decided I'm going to put this in there with this one because they look really good together when I stage it. So I will do that. Oh my goodness, my table got dirty. Anyways, so let me just place that in there. I'll put my spoon. Like I said, I am going to recycle this soil that I was supposed to not recycle, but like it's my soil. So if you bought it from a nursery, again, use new soil. But
so the bugs don't get it.
Just in case there's bugs in there, you don't, trust me, you do not want to infect the rest of your collection. A good indication of soil still being good is when it's really nice and fluffy and not compact. And my soil has not compacted at all. So let me just make sure that's in there nicely. Oh, it's gonna look so nice in this new pot. It's about time. It's actually about time I repotted this. So to my subscriber, you know, who asked for a succulent repotting video of an echeveria, and you know, this is pretty close. It's a Pachyveria clavifolia. Thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I probably would have repotted this poor baby and it would have stayed in this old takeout plastic container. Okay, so there's that. And now
I'm gonna put the new plant in there.
Put this in here. I want to place it right in the middle. Isn't that nice?
Yes, it is. Make sure this comes
Right there. It still has room to grow. Right in the middle. And then put soil there. Try to cover the roots as much as possible. Over time, as you water, the soil does get compact. And succulents like light, fluffy soil. So you want it to be as loose as it can be. You can kind of, you know, what I'm doing here is I'm pressing around the root area just to stabilize the succulent because you don't want it to fall. But I'm not pressing that hard. I want that soil to stay as loose as possible because, like I said, look at this one. I've had it in there for probably a year, not 2 years. I thought it was 2 years, but I can tell it wasn't in there for 2 years. For probably a year, and the soil is still really nice
and dry
and fluffy. So yeah, I'm just tucking the soil in around the root area. There you go. And let's put this one away. Sorry about all the mess that I made here, but this is why I have this tray.
So the dirt doesn't get on the floor.
So the dirt doesn't get on my table.
Or the floor.
And then there's my leaf propagation, my two-headed Echeveria pollex. I'll put that somewhere else. Might as well do a small repotting of that, right? How to transfer leaf propagation, or how to transplant a leaf propagation into its own tiny little pot. Okay, so this is done. This is my Pachyveria clavifolia, who is also in bloom. Look at that. This is the first time she's bloomed for me in 3 years. That is my Pachyveria clavifolia succulent repotting video, along with the soil mix that I use. And oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Okay, here's the thing. When you repot your succulent, it doesn't matter if it looks thirsty or well watered. Guys, remember when you massage the roots to take off the old soil? What happens is you're breaking off roots there, and that causes a wound on the plant. So the last thing that you want to do is to get water into those wounded roots. If you water this right away after repotting, you risk your succulent rotting. You don't want any water when there's open cuts anywhere on your succulents. So when I was a beginner, I was always really water happy, and I always wanted to water them right away, and that was the biggest mistake that I made. I lost a lot of succulents that way, and I learned my lesson. After you repot, put your new repotted succulent in a shaded area that gets a lot of indirect sunlight for about a week. That's what I do for about a week, and do not water until at least 1 week passes. I mean, you know, you're probably gonna lose a leaf or two because the plant will get shocked, and it's going to look like it wants water, but believe me, it doesn't. It just wants to rest. So whatever you do not water your newly repotted succulents right away. Just wait 1 week, and then after 1 week you can start watering again, and you can start slowly acclimating it to full sun. I will do another video about how to acclimate succulents slowly from morning sun all the way to full day sun. But for now, this is my repotting video of my Pachyvaria clavifolia, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Christine from These Succulent Buddies. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you.